gosh. Let's see here. I'm resident of Collinwood for YouTube. Jules Sades. That is Vickie Ray. That is Tom Diamond. We're here to talk to Time Tunnel episode 11. Yes, there are communists in this episode. I will say this episode probably provided really a potential for a setup for a big boss in the series.
Yes.
For a big
So,
what?
A big boss, a big villain.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Big boss, big villain. Which would have been nice. I thought they should have maybe continued this in a way. But what do you guys think?
I can't agree with you more. I think that this would have been a great
two-parter.
And now everybody, I can't agree with you more. And he ran out of the back to Collinwood.
Were you thinking
now
it should
he's
be a
running back
two-parter?
again.
Is that what you were saying?
Did you pass by the cemetery on the way? Say hello to the caretaker. Evil lurks here. Evil. What I was going to say.
Were you thinking it should have been a longer episode? I didn't understand what you meant. Did you think they just should have made it a longer, like a two-parter to be continued?
Well,
I think that's a good point. What they
did pretty good in their 50 whatever minutes.
What they had was another functioning time tunnel in the year 1956, and that opens up. Hey, that's something. If that still existed in present day, 1968, that would have opened up a real nice plot with their time tunnel versus our time tunnel, and I think they missed the boat by, I think at the end of the episode, they said that the Russian time tunnel was no longer functioning. Sorry about that. My microphone is saying hello to me. Okay, I said hello back. So I really think that they missed the boat by doing something like that. But if they had done something like that, who knows? That might have gone into a second season easily. I think it was
the money was the big push, though, to end this. It seemed
absolutely.
like everything he did was financially strapped, and I mean, he could have done so much more with Lost in Space and Land of the Giants, but he just never. The money just was not there. People didn't have that vision back then. It wasn't really until the 80s people started saying, like, well, we got to throw some money at this, like Dallas. Look at Dallas.
But it was easy. I mean, because they had basically a smaller set, which was what they had two time tunnel sets. One was the big one that you saw the first episode. The other one, most of the time, was used for the other episodes. But here they had a smaller set, and they could have used. They could have gone, but it didn't cost them any money. And all kinds of things could have happened. You could have had two Russian people that finally made it into the time barrier, and they meet Tony and Doug, and there's all kinds of fights. It could have been, I think, a real boost to the series. But suffice it to say, the idea was there. I think it was well played and well carried out. Except Michael Ansara gets on my neck sometimes. I mean, the guy is never. He's never nice. He's always mean.
What, Versac?
Michael Ansara, the guy who played the bald guy.
Every time I think of him, I think of the blue gin from I Dream of Jeannie, because that's who he played.
Probably might have been.
The blue gin.
He probably might have been. And of
course, it was. He played the blue gin. I don't know. When did they do I Dream of Jeannie? It was right around this time, wasn't it? He must have been
Well, you know,
doing
he
all
was
mixing
married to
around.
Barbara Eden. He
Was
was
he?
married.
No
Yeah, he
shit,
was
I didn't
married.
know that. Well, he was definitely making the rounds then.
He was
He was in
married
a
to
lot of
Barbara
shows back
Eden.
then, though.
He had a son with her. Unfortunately,
I did not know
the
that.
the son unfortunately committed suicide
God.
in his, I think, in his early 30s. But
Well, he was
yeah,
definitely he was really sinister, so it gave it that darker dystopian feel, and it was really clinical looking, like it was so Cold War-ish. It even out Cold War, the real Cold War, as far as I was
mhm,
concerned. And they definitely had Soviet style lab use, like time tunnel prompts, like the enemy time machine uses the same cyclorama tunnel set. It's just shot from different angles and it uses different lighting, but I think it's the same tunnel. I think that's what they said.
absolutely. And I think
It's
the
kind of more like Mission Impossible almost, you know? I mean, it doesn't have a historical catastrophe, a natural disaster, or really a famous event. This was just kind of Mission Impossible. You know, it's just spy stuff.
exactly.
It doesn't have
E-
any real big thing looming in the background other than the
One
obvious.
thing, I think that the set that they used in the beginning, where they materialized in the street, and you saw the Russian signs, I think that was the same set that was used in the last episode in the
They
French
said that they
Revolution.
repurposed the sets for
They
sure, and
just changed the signs. They just
yeah, and
changed
he
the.
definitely used they used oop, I don't know what that was crawling. I'm gonna pretend I just didn't see that. I hate bugs. I just like to not to see that. Okay. Um, let me see. Where
But
did I put that? Throne, not throne.
the idea of the bar that uh, Tony almost couldn't let go of.
Yeah, that then he has to pry his hand off of it. Tony,
Mhm.
let go of it. It's like, of course, Tony's got to hold on to it. What was that supposed to be, like for notes or something? They passed him something
For
or other.
notes, and also, I guess to get a time. I think, but you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think to get a time lock. But it was basically, this one was definitely to pass the note to see the Russian double agent, and
Yeah,
on whatever street, Yakima Street, or whatever, your something street, and but that was the only episode that was used in, and they went on to, and they talked about voice, and they did later on in the series have voice contact with
yeah.
Tony and Doug, but they just kind of mentioned it here, and you also get a little. You guys get a little. Kirk gets pissed off at Jerry, and I think that Jerry is a, I mean, he's a nice, I want to do the right thing kind of guy, but he puts his foot in his mouth, and
No, he needs to be bitch slapped most of the time. It's like,
yeah.
and
what
then
you
you got
what,
Lee Merriweather saying, "I just don't approve of this." It's just like, well, nobody gives a shit what Lee thinks. It's just like I'm totally against it. It's like nobody cares, Lee.
well, and
But
he
they said
goes
that
ahead
they
in a
used
way. He's
they
even
did
worse
use
than
military.
Tony.
They used the stock footage was from The Enemy Below. That was 57. Decision Before Dawn, 1951. Five Fingers, particularly relevant as it also deals with the espionage in Europe, and The Man Who Never Was.
Mm.
So they used
Who's
quite a bit of stock footage, and they used a lot of stuff from Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. They used a lot of they did some of
did
the
they
lost
in this episode?
explosions were repurposed.
I didn't think they used in this episode. I didn't think they used a lot of.
I don't know where they put it in, but it didn't look like Voyage of the Bottom of the Sea. But they said they used it.
No,
They repurposed a lot of
I
the.
don't think they used any any references to other movies or anything like that.
No,
That's why
they used the stock footage, but they didn't refer to anything. They
it was
didn't
a,
refer to any one event either,
it was a
really.
cheap episode. It was a cheap. I think it was cheaply
It was
done.
dystopian looking. I mean, it was clinical and dystopian. I mean, they made it look uncomfortable. I mean, it was kind of, for what way people were thinking back then. Everybody was afraid of nuclear war. People still had their bomb shelters. We were still hiding under our desks, like that was going to save us from a nuclear war. But
It
it was
was
a different
also.
time.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Vicky.
No, I mean it was just a different time, and like that, like you see that a lot of it's the '60s. It's just the way it was. I mean, it was just reflective of the atmosphere of the times, and it
It
was
was also
clinical and cold. So
it was also the only episode that had scenes from General Kirk's boss in 1968. He's the one that greeted greeted that guy that was a double agent, and they had
oh yeah, him. What a douchebag.
and that's
He wasn't even a good
well, that's
douchebag.
Nehemiah Persoff. He's still alive, by the way, at
Oh, he
90
is.
95 or something. He paints.
God, isn't that something?
Yeah, I mean it's amazing. Um, that's the last I heard is he was still, he's in a happy dementia retirement.
Happy
I guess
dementia.
as far
Where
as
we all want to end up eventually, happy and dementia,
uh,
not knowing what fucking
speak for
time of day
yourself.
it is. Probably the best way to be right now.
Well, I hope I'm in a good place when if and when that happens, because you can be in a
Wow.
good place under dementia, or you can be
But
in a
forgive
bad
me,
place.
no, I thought you were talking about being vaporized. You won't feel it. Dementia, that's totally different ball game. But being
That's for sure.
vaporized, not so much. What did you think, Jewel?
I thought this episode had the best potential for a continuing big villain.
Yep.
Where I wish they sort of would have taken at least the scientist. Maybe he would have found a way to sort of link the transportation of his time tunnel to theirs, where he's going through time with them and trying to alter it.
Oh, sort of like Timeless, the Timeless timeline, because you got the bad guys trying to alter time, and you got the
Yeah,
good
that's
guys
one.
trying to
Yeah,
save
Yep.
history.
I thought to me
Yep.
that's something that would have been really interesting for the series to have more of a heel than
Yep.
just Tony.
I think this was kind of, don't you? I think that I don't know. It was kind of ahead of its time for Irwin
Yeah,
Allen, even.
Well,
yeah,
the
it
I think
time
is.
tunnel, the time tunnel series was ahead of its time.
Yeah,
If you wanna, if you appreciate the pun, I mean, because they did so much with they managed to blend the '60s, and I still talk about that kaleidoscopic effect when they're going through the time
the green
barrier.
turtleneck says it all.
Oh, it's great. I mean, it's
Just
like
the green turtleneck.
and everybody on LSD must have freaked out when they saw
Oh,
that.
the kaleidoscope shit. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
probably that was the trippy stuff. That was the trippy reference of the time.
I absolutely.
Who else used to
Um,
have that? Somebody else used to do that too. Used to have the kaleidoscope stuff. That'll come to me.
but I think Nehemiah Persoff did a good job. I think he was a very nurturing, pretended to be a very nurturing professor to Tony and Doug, and
Oh, the
uh,
little shit that was trying to put him in his time capsule. They weren't having
yeah.
any of that. That looked like plastic bubble. Like, yeah, that's really gonna hold together going through the vaults of time. Like, I would really trust it.
I know, I know. Well, that was, but the bottom line was there was more explanation into the radiation bath, which was
That just
really
sounds so ooh.
very briefly referred to in the first episode. That you're in a radiation bath, and then you're going through time. But now you really get confirmation that the radiation bath was in the time tunnel itself, and needed to be for that to work. And the reason that it didn't work for the Russians was because they had a separate radiation bath that they were trying to use. And oh, there I
Something
go.
about a radiation bath just
There I
sounds
go.
not healthy.
There I go. They had a separate radiation bath. And that was the difference as to why that wasn't working. If they had gotten that radiation bath to work, they would have been in business, and we might have had a second season.
Yeah.
But
Maybe.
absolutely,
Yeah, but somebody didn't have didn't anybody have notice to pause to see that possible? I mean, I didn't read that anywhere in anything I looked up. I mean, did no one that never just came to anybody to maybe, have that kind of little diaspora of time and have an extra storyline? I mean, something. It's
I
really a
don't think
shame that it
anybody
didn't
ever thought of it.
on.
I don't think anybody ever thought of it, and I think they should have. Uh, but then again, ABC might have complained because Russia would say that the series is promoting the Cold War, and
Was that
you
a
might
thing
have
back
had
then? Did they do that?
they could have. They could have. Russia could have gone ahead.
It's not like we had
Khrushchev
social media, though. I can't
Khrushchev
imagine
was.
Brezhnev
I
calling
think
up and
Khrushchev was
bitching.
still in power when they. He'd
Brezhnev
start.
was, wasn't he?
Was it Khrushchev? And he'd bang
Khrushchev,
his.
I can't remember now.
He'd bang his shoe on his head, and he'd. That's right, and he'd go ahead and say that ABC was uh, de- was trying to denigrate relations between the U.S. and Russia by showing
They're pretty pitiful. That,
a major media series where the two were against each other.
oh God, they were
Mission.
putting movies out though about Russia hitting us with nuclear weapons. Though you had that one movie that was based for about it's like out
Hmm.
of Leeds, like Leeds in
I'm thinking of how Mission Impossible handled it, which was much better. Mission
Well, they didn't
Impossible.
really say the country is always unnamed, but you just know it's the USSR. The accents, the
Yeah.
uniforms, the military, the style, all is a dead giveaway. Even the guards refer to state as, the state. It's all Orwellian. I mean, if at least they made it look as Orwellian as
Hmm.
possible. I mean, because it was an uncomfortable episode. I would have liked it if they expanded out to two-parter, like to be continued instead of rushing through it and maybe having a little interaction like Jill was talking about, where there
Yeah.
was a little riff in time and they were trying to, unfuck something that, he was trying to screw with that little short guy. What was his name? Barecki? Was that was his name? He was
Yeah.
annoying. I don't know. I mean, there was just something about him. He just wouldn't shut up. He was like a used car salesman or something. And I mean,
Yeah.
he was so sketch. And I'm trying to figure out. They didn't really say how he got this. Did they ever say there was an origin to his time tunnel? Did he just come up with it, or was there some kind of link between the two time tunnels? Some brainchild of somebody? They both came up earlier with one.
It looked like the Russian time tunnel was actually smaller
Yeah.
than the American time tunnel.
Why
But
why
that
did they put the thing in the time tunnel? Though? Technically, though, you're supposed to travel through time, but they have the separate entity outside of the tunnel. It didn't make any sense to begin with, so you knew it was going to be a problem.
Yeah. I think
it's
Or they
that
shove it in the time tunnel. I mean, what did they? I mean, it didn't make sense.
I
That
think the
one,
writers were just trying to have a difference between the Russian time tunnel and the American time tunnel. That way it wasn't exactly like ours, but like it's like, okay, what if they figure out, okay, we don't need necessarily this or this or this, That's something that, again, this could have been a continued story. So
it could have been easily. They did wrap it up nice, though. I mean, I
yes.
was surprised. They did it all really good in that 50-minute time span with commercials and all that shit that was going on back then.
Mhm.
They they did really good at it. I was surprised. I was kind of hoping though. I don't know. It was. I guess maybe it was a little too clinical for me, but I guess that was just the way he did things. I don't know. He was much more extravagant on his other sets. This one doesn't seem near as extravagant as like Under the Sea or Land of the Giants. I don't know, but I guess Land of the Giants was kind of similar to this. He just did the best he could with what he had. I mean, he was kind of genius, actually.
Yeah.
Did they ever have any on Land of the Giants? Did they have? I mean, it looked to me like from the one or two episodes that I saw, it just they had large representations of like a 50-foot pencil or
Right.
a 70-foot light bulb or something like that. Did they ever have any stock footage the way the
They had a
time
lot of
tunnel
stock
did?
footage from the Land of the Giants did. I'd have to look that up, but
Oh,
they took from a
interesting.
lot of stuff. They took from a lot of
Interesting.
stuff.
What kind of stock footage do you remember?
I'd have to look it up, but I was briefly glancing over it the other day ago because I was going to start watching Land of the Giants again because it's free, so I figured I haven't watched it in years, and I didn't look it up yet. But they what I did read, they borrowed a lot. I mean, he selectively stole from all of his sets. For one, he cannibalized everything. And what he couldn't get, he took from others. So like for Land of the Giants, all those pencils and all that stuff, it came from a couple of different movies. I could not place the movie. I'd have to look it back up, but he took all that, like the giant pencils. That's going to drive me nuts because that was one of his big things with the giant pencils, and I can't remember now.
I would think Gulliver would be one of them.
They did.
Yeah, I mean because
There was
that
something
that
else with
seems to be.
giants too, and it wasn't Jack and the Beanstalk, but there was another movie that
Yeah,
required large.
that's true. Jack and the Beanstalk.
But
Then
there was other stuff. I mean, there was just like this Colossus. I think
and
he
then the
took
one
from.
with Abbott and Costello. I don't know if they did that one.
Which one's
But
that?
Abbott and Costello had a Jack and the Beanstalk takeoff, and I don't
Oh
know if
yeah, they did. That one was actually kind of funny. I haven't seen that in a long time. Now that I think about it, they had the goose that laid the golden egg.
it's very interesting. I mean, just going off the tangent, but uh, uh, Lou Costello's daughter runs the Abbott and Costello Appreciation Society,
Oh
which is
no
on
kidding! I should
Facebook,
know.
and they have stuff on all of their movies and
Oh, I'll
all
have
of
to look
it,
that up.
and yeah, and there was, and of course, you have This Is Your Life's uh,
He had such a sad life after his son
interviewing Lou
drowned.
Costello, which was very because he lost his son in a
Yeah, that was
horrible
such a sad
accident.
story. Sad story.
Horrible,
He never
horrible,
recovered from it. He never recovered from it.
horrible accident. Well, who could? But anyway, getting back to the time tunnel. What kind of a number would you give it, Jewel?
I'd give this at least a 7.5. I think I'd give it a higher number if it would have continued and they would have planted some roots for a major. Because to me, again, this is where I'm a little old school. What made Barnabas so great? He had heels to go against,
Right.
and I think that's something Tony and Doug. I mean, yeah, you could say they have different people to go against or capture them in each episode, but they don't really have a main antagonist as a person. And I thought that's something they could have set up
That
here.
is true. That is true because I got one more episode of Timeless to go, and they do have that rivalry going between the good and the bad situation, and it did make. I'm so really pissed that it only had 2 seasons because I binged most of it because Tom told me to, and I liked it so much. I've got the last 2-hour finale. At least they tied it up well. So I mean, most things like Netflix, they'll give you 3 seasons and then too bad, so sad, you get no closure. At least
Yeah.
Timeless gives you some closure. I haven't finished the last episode yet, but it's like,
Timeless brought it
that it
all
did work
together.
because they had the bad guy going through time and they had the good guys chasing them through time. So I can see where that is kind of disappointing that they had this chance. They really
Yeah.
did. They did, and they did not take it because
I
this
think
is
Timeless brought
the
it
only
all
time they
together.
have another time
There's
tunnel,
no
isn't it?
doubt.
I think
What's
it's
that?
a good. Sorry.
What's that, Joel?
Timeless.
I didn't.
Go
I
ahead.
said I think it's a good episode, and but it also has potential to be even better when
Right.
you have because you do have menacing heels in this episode. That's what makes it really good. But it's
Right.
like, okay, because again, I'm watching this, for the first time today, and I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, I like a lot of what they're doing, but my hope secretly is that they set this up for a continuing thing.
I agree. Yeah, yeah, that's something they could have done, and I think they missed the boat on that.
Yeah.
I'd give it an 8. Basically, I mean, it was. I like the idea, but the fact that they didn't follow up with it, plus Michael and Sarah was just too. Just I don't know. There was just something about that character that I didn't like. But who knows? Other people may have liked it. But maybe an 8. Might be an 8.5. I shouldn't be picky. Give it an 8.5. How about you, Vicky?
Oh, I'd probably give it a 7, 7.5. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it did do well on paralleling, the Western
Yeah.
fears about Soviet experimentation and all that. Well, they were worried they were getting experimented on, and that shit actually was going on. So, I mean, it did reflect our basic fear of the Soviet Union. I mean, because I don't really remember when all this stuff went on. I don't remember. I just remember hiding under my desk in kindergarten. So, I mean, for drills. And so the Cold War was real for us. I mean, you, Joel, are a lot younger, so you wouldn't remember that. Would never had to
No.
hide under your desk. So, I mean, like that was going to protect us from whatever they thought was coming. But I mean, it was a paranoid kind of time. And there was a lot of temporal control. I mean, I could see Tony. I was just driving me nuts because Tony was just going batshit. He did not want to get that machine. And I mean, I was trying to understand though. They did something. Were they not moving through time, or were they stuck in time because it was fighting the other time tunnel? That's the one part I couldn't figure out. Were they trying to pull? They were pulling from different times and different time tunnels. Is that why they
No,
were
well,
kind of?
the impression I got was that when they tried the radiation bath outside of the tunnel, it wasn't working, and they were put into a limbo.
But they
Uh,
were trying to retrieve them at the same time.
hmm
Mhm.
hmm
Okay, I was just wondering
They
if
were
that's what was
trying to
going on.
retrieve them at the same time. The actually both of them were trying to retrieve them
Yeah.
at the same time, and maybe that might have had something to do with the fact that they were being pushed and pulled.
Well, that's
Yeah.
that's what I was wondering. But I would give it definitely a 7.5 for evoking Cold War dystopian feelings of unsettlement. So yeah, absolutely.
Have you
I'm going to
guys?
give it an 8. I'm going to give it an 8. I'm thinking about it. It really does not deserve an 8.5. I'm going to give it an 8, and you're 7.5, and Julie, you're 7. You said.
I'm 7. I give it a 7.5 because I think they
Hmm.
do a good job, but I
The
think
acting
again, I
was
think
good.
there's a
They
big
could
missed
have.
opportunity here.
They had an
It
idea
is.
and they
I didn't
missed
think
it.
about it until you said it, but there really was. I just didn't think they were thinking in those
No,
terms.
they
I
weren't.
think he
No,
was
they weren't.
thinking,
No.
let's just get through this season. Maybe if we're lucky, we can get a second season. It just didn't seem like they were thinking in that capacity back then. Because
Well,
I'm trying to
again,
think what series had something like that. I mean, you don't see it anywhere.
well,
Yeah.
remember the dealing with censors
Yeah.
back in the
That's
ABC
true.
days.
I keep forgetting. I'm
Yeah.
just so desensitized now. I can watch Terrifier 3 and eat
Exactly.
spaghetti meatballs, So yeah,
and
then we're
so
just
they're
a
dealing with
desensitized
censors
audience.
that don't want them to go too far in I mean, yes, uh, there were hostile feelings between the U.S. and USSR at that point, but they don't want it to go so. I think that they don't want it to go so far that there'd be a problem in political circles over having a major media show on ABC, um, accentuating and encouraging the Cold War. The Cold War was
Yeah, I
there,
didn't think
but
about
why
that.
did
Yeah, I
you
guess
have
they
to
probably
encourage
were
it?
monitoring
See,
our airwaves. They've
this is the
always.
thing with Mission Impossible. There you go. This is the thing with Mission Impossible. They didn't encourage the Cold War. They just went ahead and it's there.
Dramatized the Cold
It's a
War.
country. We're going to deal with it. But with the time tunnel, it was a completely different. It was a completely different thing. But anyway, I'm gonna shut up. I thought the graphics were fine. I thought
Yeah.
it was interesting that Nehemiah Persoff mentioned that if the um, if the Russian time tunnel had worked, they'd be transported 20 years earlier into the same spot, which was a field with
Yeah.
gardens and flowers and stuff like that. And that would have been interesting if they were actually able to do it.
Oh, what
And
do you like the time machine where he goes back thousands of years and everything is changing, and then all the vegetation changes, and the moon is half there. That always freaked me out as a kid. That one scene where the moon was falling apart. That just freaked me out. That rocked my world when I was little.
what is
That
that?
just,
What is that?
yeah.
The Time
When the moon
Machine
was
movie?
falling apart, was it Time Machine?
Time
The
Machine movie.
Morlocks.
Yep,
I used to
yep.
think the Morlocks. I was terrified of Morlocks. I thought they were real. I swear to God, I thought they were
Everybody
real.
was scared by the Morlocks. Did you see him on Big Bang Theory? That was a great episode with Big Bang Theory, where they
Yeah.
brought back the machine that was that machine went through quite a the time travel machine went through quite a history. It was lost at one point, and it was found in a junkyard, and some fan got a hold of it and rebuilt it from scratch. It
You
was
never know.
really,
There's some
it
people out
said,
there that think Jules Verne is going through time as we speak.
and what's that?
There's some people out there that actually believe Jules Verne is traveling through time as we
Yep,
speak.
yep, yep. And
Yeah.
They do.
they had it on Big Bang Theory, and there's this scene where he's dreaming, Sheldon's dreaming, and he sees the Morlocks, and the Morlock
Sheldon
with the eyes. That's something that would have kept you up at night, Vicky. I think that's what
takes a lot
that.
to scare me now, but back then, now the City of the Dead, that one scared me a lot when I was little. City of the Dead, but
Uh
Christopher
huh.
Lee, I am Elizabeth Selwyn. That just I was scared. I was sleeping in my brother's room between their two beds. They were babysitting me that night. They let me watch that. I was 6 years old. Oh my God, scary. Still the best horror movie ever made, as far as I'm concerned.
That's
Love that.
funny. That's funny. Anything else?
No, I could tangent all night though if you want.
uh, yeah, this has been a really interesting discussion. I do think it's a good episode. They did a really good job of building something here,
They
Yes,
did.
so I do
yes.
give them that. But yeah,
It didn't
They
um,
end
did.
up with what they thought, but they came up with a very interesting idea.
yeah,
There was no doubt. And next week we're doing uh, the Lincoln. I won't go into it too much, but we're doing that, and so Next Sunday at 8. Are we okay?
Sunday should be good. Sunday
Sunday's
should be
good unless somebody needs a jump or
Yeah.
three.
Have you guys seen?
I'll let
have
you
guys,
know if I need one. You can take a plane.
Have you guys seen
That's
the?
true.
Have you guys seen the trailer for the Hellraiser video game?
No, I haven't.
No kidding. They finally came out with
I
a.
have to.
There, well, it's in development. So, but a trailer. I'll send
Xbox
it to
or all platforms?
all platforms.
All
I'll
platforms.
send you the trailer.
Remember, it was a big deal waiting to get the disc back in the day. It's like standing out in the freezing, bitter cold for your brats to get the disc. They so didn't deserve it.
When are they going to have a Dark Shadows
Things are
video?
over.
I remember
What's that?
When are they going to have a Dark Shadows video game?
I know, right? I know.
God,
That
somebody's
would be great.
seriously. If you've thought of it,
I've-
somebody's probably trying to develop it
I've-
because there's
I've-
brainiacs everywhere.
I've given pitches on this channel for that very same thing. So
It's smart. I mean, Hellraiser. That's going to be interesting.
it looks
That's
good. I'll say this.
The graphics and stuff. Yeah, I'll have to check out that. The graphics, I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, we've come so far since the 80s.
You got the original. You got the original. You got the original Pinhead coming back. So
Did Clive Barker do
yeah.
that?
Clive Barker is doing the game. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
he's
what I
doing
thought
that.
because he had a few computer games also that came out under his name, and I'm blanking out on them. But
it looks.
he did have a few computer games.
It looks terrifyingly good. So
Did you guys watch
Stuff
the
on
monkey?
Books of Blood and stuff like that. But
Did you
anyway,
watch the monkey yet, Jewel? I don't think Tom did. Did you watch the monkey?
the
I'm
monkey?
sorry?
No, I did
Did you
not
guys
watch
watch the monkey? Watch the
Not
monkey. It's
yet.
kind of a hoot. It's on
Not yet.
HBO right now, I
Is
think.
it?
Yeah, I got a kick out of Elijah Wood. Kind of funny. So,
I just
Sounds good.
what is it? I just bought the new Final Destination movie. So
did you watch it yet?
no, not yet. I'm waiting for my wife.
I've
waiting-
watched it twice.
No,
I just
my
wanted
wife
you to
wants
think.
me to wait for her, so I'm waiting for her to watch it.
Oh, okay. I watched it with my daughter.
I don't want to misbehave
It
myself.
explains lots. That's all I can say.
Does it?
Explain well.
about
It
time.
could. It could. Depending
Okay.
on your take and how willing you're willing to buy into it. It's not bad. You'll like it.
Yeah. All right. You two have a nice one. Be safe.
Sure. Okay,
good
guys. Be good.
discussion tonight.
Bye.
Good
Bye, people.
discussion.